Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's Sketchbook Storytime is about my art teacher did not hate me, and the specifics of that. But before I get into today's story, I want to give you guys like a super basic update. For those of you who follow me on DeviantArt, you already know. For everybody else, I apologize if my videos are kind of far apart. I've got a lot going on right now. My brother Nigma's got an upcoming surgery. I've got some issues with my prior employer not paying me. So I've got a lot going on right now. But into the story. So, in probably 6th grade, I kind of started giving up on school. You know, I remember the moment that I just wanted to throw in the towel and be like, fuck all of this. Why even bother? I had studied for 2 weeks for a math test that I ended up getting like a 40 on. And I just remember being like, I'm stupid, I guess. So why even try? Because if I'm going to study and try my hardest and still fail, why even bother? But it was mostly just math related. So while I was still putting effort forward in my other classes, I'd basically just given up on math. However, as time went on, once my dad had me started on medication, which turned me into a total freaking zombie, I gave up altogether because I knew that it didn't matter if I tried, I still was not going to be able to get a passing grade when my brain was mush. So by the time that I had reached 9th grade, my first year of high school, I had already stopped trying. That was old news. But at this point, it was more of a game to me, really. By the time that I hit 9th grade, my goal was if I couldn't blow them away with my great grades, I was going to blow them away with the worst grades the school had ever seen. So I would show up, but that was it. That was all. So no homework, no tests, no school assignments. I just did not participate in anything at all. With not participating in anything at all, I had a 0.04 average. That's what I got just for showing up. And I'm fairly certain that was like the lowest grade that the school had probably ever seen, and they tried a million things to try and get me to like cooperate, but I was just not having it. I was done. So 9th grade art class rolls around, and what I did for 8 hours of not participating in school was just drawing. I would bring a sketchbook to school and I would draw through all of my classes, which all of my other teachers had a problem with until they realized that I was a lost cause and just learned to ignore me, except for my algebra teacher. That's a different story. But my art teacher, when art rolled around, should have had a problem with the fact that, yes, I was drawing in class, but I did not do any of the assignments. And the funny thing is, I enjoyed learning, I guess, about different techniques and whatever. So sometimes I would secret participate. Like, I would do the assignments, but I wouldn't hand them in. We had a coffee pot, I think, and then 2 mason jars set in the middle of the table that we were supposed to do as realistically as we could. And I did both of those assignments. If I can find them, maybe I'll throw them up on the video for a second. But I did both of those assignments, but I didn't turn them in because I didn't want to be graded on them, because this was officially a game in my mind, and I was going to win. I was not going to get anything above an F on any assignment for all of my time in high school. That was my goal, to have the lowest possible grades. It sounds dumb, I know, but for a kid who felt like putting in 100% wasn't going to accomplish anything, I wanted to be impressive, even if it was in the wrong way. And I was. So anyway, the first quarter rolls around where our report cards come through, and my report card comes in, and by this point, my parents already know not to expect anything, like why even bother checking, because we know that she's failing on purpose. But I wanted to look at my report cards and see just how absolutely horrible all of my grades were, and which teachers actually gave credit for showing up and which teachers didn't, and whatever. So I opened my report card, and my GPA is significantly higher than it should be. I mean, I was still failing overall, but I definitely had way higher of a grade in total than I should have. So I go through the list, and I stop at my art grade. My art grade, for which I had not done a single assignment the entire quarter, and the art teacher had given me an A+. And I was just absolutely baffled. Horrified and baffled. Like, I didn't do any of the work for this class, but this art teacher gave me an A+. So, the next day, I go storming into school. I skipped out of my first class of the day to go looking for this art teacher who was not in their classroom, and I went to the office, and they're like, you can't just wander around the school looking. And I'm like, no, I need to speak to this teacher. My grade is wrong. So finally, they let me know when this teacher will be back in their classroom, and I make a point to be there. And I have my report card, and I go up to this guy, and I'm just like, my dude, what the f*** is this? And he's like, you got an A+. What do you mean, what is this? Why are you upset? You can't, there isn't a higher grade that I could have given you. And I'm like, exactly. I haven't done a single one of your assignments. Why would you give me an A+? And he told me, he's like, well, you draw during class every day. I mean, you participate. And I'm like, no. No. That's like if I were doing geometry in my algebra class. If I were doing geometry questions on my algebra math test, I would still fail that test because despite the fact that I was doing math, it did not pertain to the assignment. And this poor dude looked so confused. He's like, wait, so you want a bad grade? And I lost it on this poor guy. And I'm just like, I didn't do a single assignment. It is against the rules for you to give me an unfair grade, for you to grade me and give me an A for several assignments that I did not do. And he kept on going back to, well, you're participating. And I'm like, no, I'm not participating. I have not done any of the assignments. And he never did end up changing the grade, and it fucked up my whole average for the entire year of my wanted to be so poor grades, and didn't end up being as bad as it could have been, because while he flunked me the next quarter, that one A+ screwed up my 0.04 average that I had been looking forward to. So yeah, that's the story of the art teacher that I had who did not hate me. In fact, I don't think that any of the art teachers that I had while I was in school had a problem with me, even during the time that I was not participating. Most of the other art teachers during the time that I wasn't participating did fail me, but made a point to say that it wasn't personal and that it was just, that I didn't do the work, to which I told them that's fine, I totally understand. Outside of one art class during that point in time that I did actively participate in, but only because I was a obnoxious know-it-all, we had an art teacher who apparently was only really versed in painting and clay, but they had assigned this teacher a Photoshop course that she was supposed to teach, and she had no idea even how to open the program. The very first day, she told us outright, I have no idea what I'm doing, I do not know how to use this program, and I'm going to try and follow this booklet that they gave me to the best of my ability, but we're going to be working through this together because I don't know what I'm doing either. And I kind of just, awkwardly stood up and I'm like, I've been using Photoshop since I was, 10, so do you need some help? And she looked so relieved to have someone in class who actually knew what was going on. And I actually stood at the front of that class and taught Photoshop as to like how to do the different filters and how to move stuff around and how to save your files under different types of whatever. And yeah, so I did end up passing that class, and I was a little less grouchy about it because I had intentionally participated. I had intentionally actually run that class and felt kind of good about myself that I knew something that the teacher didn't. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, the only other real notable art stories is I was in second grade, and in second grade, all of your teachers, your teacher who teaches you English, math, science, art, is all the same person. So I remember that we were all supposed to draw snowmen, and then once we were done drawing our snowmen, we could go sit down and watch a movie. So I drew my snowmen, but I drew them blue. And when I went to hand it in, my teacher told me that it was wrong, and that snowmen were white and not blue, and that I had to do it again. And because I was a stubborn little fuck, even in second grade, I drew them exactly the same way that I had the first time, and told them that, well, whoever made the snowman decided to spray paint them blue. How about that? Needless to say, the teacher was not happy, but, you know, as far as the trouble that I caused when I was young, that was not the worst of it, so. And, yeah. And then one teacher who used to look through my casual artwork and give critique and feedback, who told me that chibis were a waste of time and that I shouldn't be wasting my talent on chibi work when I had so much more potential than that, which at that time I had been a little offended by, but as an adult, like, if you go to college for art, I can understand why someone would think that chibis are like a cop-out. And I still make chibis to this day. You guys know that. But at the time, little me was heartbroken that my teacher thought that I was wasting my time with an art style that I really enjoyed. But she wasn't in any way, like, mean or malicious about it. She was just giving her opinion, and that's fine. So, yeah, those are my stories about how my art teacher did not hate me. So, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Questions, comments, suggestions, you know where to put them. And I will see you guys in the next one.